little bit. We don't get a lot of people who were farm employees on our show. You were a dairy drinker and a meat eater at the time. Tell us about the Jessica back then.
That it was a 600 head herd, so not quite that many cows, but in New Zealand that's considered a pretty medium-sized farm. And the reason that my partner and I decided to move, because we actually moved from a different region to work in the intensive dairy industry in Canterbury, New Zealand, is because we decided that we just wanted to get away from the grind of the 9-to-5 city life. And we thought we were going to move to the country and have a beautiful country existence and be at one with nature and the animals. And we sort of had all these ideas around what country life was going to be like. And in New Zealand, the dairy industry has been heralded as sort of the backbone of the country. So we sort of felt that we were going to do some quite important work. And we were going to see more of each other. We were going to start a family. We weren't going to be stuck in traffic anymore. Just all these ideas around what dairy farm life was going to be, because it's often presented to us as mum, dad, and the two kids having a great life out on the farm. And I think that's what we just expected we were going to go into. Yeah.
But it didn't turn out that way.
No.
Right? It wasn't as idyllic.
No.
What were you expecting? Like, what were you? Where did you expect the cows to be? Did you have any sense of that? If all of the milk was to be sold to human beings and for the farm itself to turn a profit, that maybe the babies weren't drinking the milk? Or what was your idea in your head of what you were going to enter on day one of your job?
I think that this is very embarrassing to say, but I do think it's indicative of just the general public. That thought didn't even enter my head. I literally just thought that cows produce milk because it's what they do. And I guess if I had logically thought about it, I would have thought they needed a baby to make that milk. But I wasn't even making those connections in my mind when I was thinking about working on a dairy farm. I think I also moved there thinking that the animals were very much part of the system, that it was like a mutual, like beneficial thing for both parties, both humans and cows. I sort of, the things that you read when you're a child and you read in the storybooks about cows lining up to be milked, and I knew it wasn't like the cute milkmaid in the pail or anything like that, but I guess I expected it to be a much more reciprocal arrangement, I think, and I hadn't even thought about the babies, to be honest. And when we arrived, there were no babies on the farm because it was sort of the end of season. So calving season didn't start for another 4 or 5 months after we arrived.
So, yeah. By the way, Jessica, I too did not put this very simple, basic fact together when I was drinking milk that. A cow, I think I knew the cow needed to be pregnant, but I thought she just needed to be pregnant once, and then you kept basically using her milk and that she never would run out. I did not realize that you needed to impregnate a cow every 10 months, every year or so to continue getting milk from her. So, and I'm sure we're not alone, right?
Yeah,
we were just
I
raised
think that
not
is
to
the general public. We're not thinking that deeply into it when we pick up that bottle of milk off the shelf. We're literally not thinking about this as food for an infant. We're just thinking this is just for my coffee or my cereal. We're just not thinking about it very deeply. I mean, I was on the farm taking the milk from the cows, still not putting that together. And it wasn't until calving season started that just this light bulb went off about the reality of what it took to get that milk. So I had to go and see it for myself. I think even if people had told me on the street, I don't know how deeply that would have affected me. I think I would have been like, oh, okay, but just not really processed it until I actually had to eyeball those babies in the calf pens.
So let's just go before calving season. You said you had 4 or 5 months that you worked before calving season start. What was that experience like? So you're just milking, right? They're just still milking from the previous
And at the end
birth.
of season, their sort of their volume is lowering, so the milking is it's quick, relatively quick compared to the beginning of calving season when they've got a lot of milk and it can take a lot longer. So it was only a couple of hours, and I was going to the milking shed. I was just a relief milker. My partner was the 2IC on the farm, and I was relief milking. And
I'm sorry, I don't know what either one of those things mean.
Tell us,
okay.
you were
You have to help us out.
Yeah, tell us what a relief milker is, and also your partner's job.
Yeah, so my partner was second in charge, just under the manager.
Got it.
And so he was doing very much the 11 days on, 3 days off. They're very full-on work starting at 4:30 in the morning. But I was just coming in and milking when they needed someone because staff were low or people's days off. So I wasn't employed to be doing it like on a regular full-time basis. I was just coming in and filling the gaps where people were needed. And often at that time, at the end of the really busy season, people are wanting to take a bit of time off. So I was going in and doing like a few weeks here, a few weeks there. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about, so you went in, you were a relief milker and you went into the barns.
Yeah. So at first, I actually felt it's bizarre talking about this now because I've got such a different sort of frame of mind around it. But at first I was proud of the work because it's a place where women often aren't seen. And I felt quite a feminist going in there and doing, because it's quite hard work. It's very messy work because cows, when they're afraid, they defecate a lot. So because I was cupping off and they then have to get off the platform, which is something which is really hard for them to do backwards while the platform is going.
Oh my gosh.
So
I just want to give, because you said cupping off and you talked about the platform.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for tuning in today. If we helped you in any way, then click the subscribe button and let's keep hanging out together. We have so much more to share with you.
And if you need more information on actually making the switch for good, please visit us at switchforgood.org for loads of info. And you can subscribe to our mailing list where you will receive all sorts of super cool gifts, discount codes to our very fave dairy-free products, and a lifetime of powerful health tips.
So join us on the journey to switch for good. This is the future.